All right. So this is COVID Chats. I'm Chloe Mason, and I am here with Jenelle Evans. Thanks so much for connecting. I know we had a little bit of a hassle trying to find time with
Yeah.
kiddos and stuff, but thank you for taking the time. How are
Yeah,
you?
no problem. Thanks for talking with me.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing good, just like everything's very hectic right now. So, the kids are just at home from school instead of going to school. So
Yeah.
we try to keep the little kids quiet while David's daughter is trying to do some schoolwork on Zoom.
Oh, yeah. Because the older kids are using Zoom classes, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So how old is your youngest?
She's 3.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, my son is 6, and so even for me, it's like a challenge. I'm not super crafty, so I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, what do I do to fill this time?"
My 2 youngest ones are 3 and about to be 6 next month.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, they both of them together is like a tornado.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Make sure this. Um, so initially, I really wanted to. I know a couple years ago you came out with your book.
Yes.
What can you tell us a little bit about what that's about? I have not had a chance to read it yet.
Yes, it's like a basically a biography, and I went through all my childhood diaries. I had about like 5 or 6 of them,
Oh wow.
and me and my co-writer, we just picked out all the good ones we thought were juicy or, related to my life in some sort of way, where it explains to my fans how I got from basically Pennsylvania to North Carolina and where I grew up, how I was raised, and everything. So it puts a lot of insight to that and what you didn't see on Teen Mom behind the scenes.
How was that being on Teen Mom, going through such a vulnerable time when, I mean, you're so young and like you're growing up and also learning to be a parent? Was that hard having the whole world watch that journey that you went through?
Yeah, I don't think it really hit me until, I got a lot older, how much of an impact it would have me being on TV, and also, all the lessons I learned from watching myself.
Yeah,
So, it's been really hard, but, I try to be an open book since day one, and I try to be open and honest with everyone, and I don't try to hold myself back so everyone can relate to my story.
totally. That's amazing. Congratulations on
Thank
your
you.
book. So since I posted about the interview, obviously I really didn't have any sort of idea some of the things that were going on in the media and that you were going through. So I did have a little bit of time to kind of get a little bit of backstory. But one thing I wanted to touch on, and I know this is probably can be frustrating because as of the comments and things that have been said, most of it have not been from you. They're, from your husband, David. And so I know that those haven't been your words, but being your partner, that is like a reflection of you.
Yeah.
So as far as just kind of some of the comments that have been made as far as like the trans community, and like, the queer community, what is your stance on those things? Since, I mean, the comments that were made were really blatantly, um, they were pretty transphobic and
Yeah.
racist and homophobic. How do you feel about that?
Well, I just have to say, knowing David, I know him on a personal level, and he didn't know, first of all, he didn't even know what Twitter was. So once he did tweet that, he deleted his Twitter and never went back on it again. And he has apologized for his comments. It's just his apology isn't publicized more than his comment. You know what I'm saying? But he doesn't have any problem with gay people, and he's not racist, and he's actually grown up around the crowd, around the black community crowd. That was his best friends. His best friend right now, they still talk to, lives in Florida. He's black, and that's his childhood best friend that he grew up with. So he's not racist at all. And for the gay comments, he has opinions on their type of views, but he understands that he shouldn't express it. It like his comments were just too out there and outrageous, and I think he knows that, and he knows the repercussions, what he dealt with, and especially, you know, Teen Mom, everyone fired him from there, so he definitely feels the consequences from all that. And you know, I know there's just a lot of people trying to hold it against me, and we don't have nothing against gay people. One of my best friends, his name's Josh, he's gay, and he came over recently with my friend Tori, and they hung out here. David was hanging out with us, having a few drinks and chit-chatting. So yeah, he really doesn't have a problem with them. It's just, I think one comment he made just got blown up so bad, people are just stuck on it.
Yeah, and I mean, I read some of them, you know, as far as like, you know, if a dog lays down with fleas, he's gonna get them, or you know, so
Yeah,
things like that. I
yeah.
know. I think the big thing is there's a difference between being, you know, gay accepting and gay tolerant, and I think that maybe a lot of the community is wondering is it he's like tolerating it, but you know, deep down it isn't accepting of the queer community. Would you say now that you see yourselves as allies of the community, or I mean, and then there's no your viewpoint is your own, and I'm not here to say that's right or wrong.
Mhm.
Just respectfully wondering how you view that.
I don't think David has any problem wrong with the gay community anymore, and neither do I. And I think more his comment, he was trying to talk about his kids, but he said it in the wrong way, obviously. And also, he wasn't trying to just shout it out to everyone on the internet. Someone actually approached him with a question, and that's how he responded, which his response was wrong. But he didn't just out of the blue say, I'm going to tweet this out of nowhere, you know? So he really doesn't have a problem with the gay community anymore. And
Yeah.
yeah, everything's fine on this end. Everyone just like throws it up in the air and rolls with it, like I said. So
Yeah. And I think, you know, everybody does say dumb shit every now and then.
oh,
Um,
definitely. I mean, I definitely have over the years. I mean, everyone saw that. So
yeah. Well, I know I personally, when I was in high school, one of my friend's parents asked me what I would do if I had a son that later in life that ended up being gay. And I 100% without hesitation said that I would no longer speak to him. And it's funny, through my evolution from then to now I'm openly a queer person, and I'm like the biggest advocate. So I know that there is room for growth when we make those type of comments, but I think they just the community kind of just wanted to know if there's been a change, in which you say that there has.
yeah.
What do you have to say about the Michelle Obama comments?
Oh, I don't even like I said one little thing and everyone just freaked out, and I was like, all right, no more, not talking about politics anymore. And I was just going based off of what David shared, which was an article supposedly that said she tried to run for president and she got denied, and why she got denied. And he's not being racist towards immigrants at all. And I've read that a lot coming up, and it wasn't about that at all. He didn't like Obama as a president. That's all.
Mhm.
It wasn't about immigration.
Yeah. I think where they could have pulled that was the comment that she should go back to her country. Yet, I mean, she's, you know, born in South Side of Chicago. So I feel like that put people of color in a box and being like, go back and we'll keep America white, basically. There's so many ways that people could run with that. And
Well, and I did approach David and I said, well, people are saying she was born in Chicago, and he said, well, supposedly they found out she had an address in the British Virgin Islands and she didn't qualify for a president position because she had a different address. So I don't know.
yeah,
That's what he told me. That's what I read. But then people told me the articles were fake. The article was fake. So then I just deleted everything. I was like, there's
yeah,
one side, there's another side. I'm not into politics. I'm not trying to get into politics. So
yeah.
yeah.
Politics is definitely religion, politics. Those are things that, are very, I try and stay away from, I try and stay away from them as
Yeah,
well.
and I don't like to comment on something if I haven't researched it in depth for like about a week. Like
Yeah.
that's how I am. I have to know for a fact in solid stone that it's true. You know what I mean? So that's why I was like, I'm deleting everything. I don't know nothing. So
Yeah. No, I feel that. I think, yeah, I think that just left a lot of room for people to run with. But a big topic is the scary call that you made about your collarbone.
mhm.
What what happened in a way that is not triggering for you? However much you want to share about that instance and what was going on.
Basically, it was a big drunk misunderstanding. And I mean, I even went, obviously, you heard there was CPS allegations and all this and that, but all that got closed because there wasn't any factual evidence that was bad against us. It was all hearsay. But during that trial, I had to go on stand and I had to testify for that and everything else you probably heard about. But during that time when I testified, shit, I forgot what we were talking about. Oh yeah, the 911 call. Sorry. I was going through my head all the list of stuff that was happening, all the issues that happened. Anyway, so it was a big misunderstanding. I was drunk. David wasn't. And I tripped over a hole backwards and he went to go catch me. He fell on top of me. And when I did, my arm was behind me when I landed and then my collarbone popped out. So then I thought he did it on purpose. And I thought he pushed me. I thought, or he pinned me down, or he did something. But then I talked to his friends the next day that were in the driveway, and they were like, everything was fine. He went to go catch you. You guys fell. And I didn't know that. So I just kind of went off the handle.
Yeah, I know a lot of people had said that you were just backtracking because you didn't want him to get in trouble, or what do you think about when people say stuff like that?
A lot of people say that David has been physical with me, and that's not true at all. I've said since day one, even when I separated from David, we've never been physical with each other. We've always argued with each other back and forth where it was just very volatile and there was a lot of cussing going on that
Mhm.
shouldn't have been happening in front of the kids. And we've changed that since then and set boundaries. So
Good, good. With all of, like, you've obviously been through a lot of ups and downs, and especially the added pressure from being on TV and when you were growing up. What is something that or where was a moment where you kind of just reached like deep down and really worked on like yourself, or what was your kind of journey to healing? What was that like? When did you kind of like view yourself as like a woman? You're empowered. How did you get to the space that you're in?
well, I just know that every day, and I told David this, so he already knows, but every day I was just so miserable fighting and arguing and being so nasty towards each other where we didn't even want to be in the same room. We didn't even want to sleep in the same bed. And I was like, this isn't the same relationship I remembered. So I warned him. I said, I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna leave. And I just got to a breaking point where I left. And then once I did, I got to Tennessee and I ended up talking to a therapist all the way up until the time I got back to North Carolina. And I would talk to her once a week and we would have 90-minute sessions, video chatting. And I would express to her my feelings and how I felt. And I would tell her, I'm like, I just want to go home. And she's like, well, sit on this emotion for a little bit and see if you're going to really roll with it because you're kind of impulsive. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So I kind of sat on my decision a little bit and waited for about 2 weeks. And I didn't even talk to David at this time. This was just solely me thinking in my head. And I told her again, I said, I want to talk to him. And she goes, okay, let's talk about the next steps into how's that going to impact your life? Can you handle it? Are you going to be stressed about people's opinions and the news? And how are you going to handle that? So I literally had to prepare myself to even tell anyone I was back with him, let alone talk to him, because I knew the world was going to freak out.
Hmm.
So I ended up, I actually didn't end up posting a picture with David until just recently, which was the picture that's on my Instagram right now. And before that, I just kind of kept it hush hush because I knew that everyone was going to hate on me. I knew the backlash that was going to happen. But now I'm at the point where I don't care and I just want my family happy. And if you're my fan, you were my fan since day one, and you were my fan watching me through everything bad up until now. So if you're going to stop being my fan now, oh well. So
Yeah.
I'm just
You have
living
to
my
walk in
life.
the truth.
If you want to be here, I'm here. If you want to watch, I'm here.
Yeah, and you have to walk in what your truth is. No matter what your relationship looks like on the inside, it's obviously your choice. You're an adult. You're able to make those decisions. I don't believe that it's anybody's place to really cast judgment. I mean, we see from an outside perspective. We're not really there. But I do obviously hope that your worth, what the boundary is of what's too much, what's not okay, and that you have an amazing purpose here on this planet to help other people and all this. And so I hope that through all those things you're still able to see that. And your therapist nailed it when they said it's basically learning to sit with that discomfort versus just
Yeah.
immediately acting on it. And I think, when you've been through a lot of intense trauma, instead of fight or flight, you have to hurry and repair something, you're sitting with it. What does that look like? What is it? So that's really challenging. And that's amazing that you took the time to work on that with her. That's amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I suggest to anyone that if you need someone to talk to or reach out to, a therapist is always great because they're private. No one knows them. They're not going to judge you. You can tell
Mhm.
them anything, and
Yeah.
it's all private.
Yeah, it is. I recently, I think it was probably last year, started going. Growing up, my mom didn't really believe in therapists, and I kind
Yeah.
of had that mentality. But then as I started making decisions that put me in a compromising situation, and then trauma after trauma, and then just added layers of when I didn't even know why I was acting the way I was. I was so detached from what was going on that it took me those time with my therapist to kind of unpack and see what was really going on.
Yeah, they definitely help you see clearly, especially when you're at this level and you're I don't know to go left or right.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time, but this, you don't have to. It may be uncomfortable, but I had received a bunch of messages from people in the LGBTQ community and people of color that felt very hurt and very affected directly by what had gone on with the comments and what seemed like you were, backing those statements up. Would you feel comfortable giving a genuine, sincere apology to those communities for what had happened?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry for the Michelle Obama comments, and I can't say sorry for David's actions, but I'm sorry for whatever you guys got offended by. And I'm going to try to steer away from politics and steer away from anything that tries to offend people. And understand this is a very sensitive time, and people are just reading content left and right and taking it out of proportion. But I'm sorry for my comments, and I'm sorry for anything that was brought up that offended anybody.
And that's great. That is accountability and acknowledgement for other people's feelings. And I think as
And
viewers watching this, I think that I always say it is so important to find commonalities before we find our differences. Everyone has a different upbringing, different mindset perspectives, whether we feel they're right or wrong. Taking a minute to kind of dissect that and see where people are coming from and giving people an opportunity to be accountable and have that moment of growth. So thank you so much on behalf of the queer community and people of color.
yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not here to spread hate, and I'm not here to hate anybody. I'm just here living my life, and like I said, just trying to stay positive, stay out of trouble.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. As I feel like a lot of us are. So,
yeah.
well, I hope that you and your family are doing amazing during this time. I send you all
Thank
of the
you.
love and the light, and thank you so much for talking.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much, and you guys stay safe.
Awesome. All right. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Have an awesome day.
All right, sound good. And tell your partner happy birthday.
Oh, I will. Thank you. All right.
All
Bye.
right, bye. Have a good day.
You too.